Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going on a journey back in time to an era when the sky was an unconquered frontier, a vast, blue mystery that humans had only dreamed of touching. Imagine a world without airplanes, a world where the idea of a person soaring through the clouds was pure fantasy, the stuff of myths and legends. For centuries, brilliant minds had tried and failed to unlock the secret of flight. Yet, in the heart of America, two brothers, bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio, were about to change the world forever. Their names were Orville and Wilbur Wright, and this is the story of how their relentless curiosity and unshakable belief made the impossible possible. So, who were these two men? Wilbur and Orville Wright weren't wealthy aristocrats or university-trained engineers. They were hands-on tinkerers, owners of the Wright Cycle Company. Their daily work involved gears, chains, and frames, understanding balance and control onto wheels. This practical experience with bicycles, surprisingly, gave them a unique perspective on the problem of flight. While many before them had focused solely on generating enough lift to get off the ground, the Wrights understood a crucial, overlooked element: control. They knew that a flying machine, just like a bicycle, would be useless if you couldn't steer it. It wasn't enough to just go up, you had to be able to command the machine in the air. Their journey began not with building an engine, but with observation. They spent countless hours watching birds, meticulously studying how they twisted their wingtips to turn and maintain balance. This observation led to their breakthrough concept, wing warping. The idea was to mechanically twist or warp the wings of their glider, mimicking a bird's flight, allowing the pilot to roll the aircraft and control its direction. It was a revolutionary idea that set them apart from all other aviation pioneers of their time. They realized that control in three dimensions of pitch, roll, and yaw was the key to true, sustained flight. With this theory in hand, they started building. Their first creations weren't airplanes, but kites and gliders. They needed to test their wing warping concept in the real world. In 1900, they built their first full-size glider. They chose a remote, sandy stretch of beach for their experiments, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Why Kitty Hawk? It was perfect. The remote location offered privacy, the soft sand would cushion their inevitable crashes, and most importantly, it had strong, consistent winds blowing in from the Atlantic. These winds would provide extra lift, making it easier to get their gliders airborne and test their control systems. Their early attempts were a mix of frustration and progress. The first glider didn't produce as much lift as their calculations predicted. It was a major setback. A lesser team might have given up, but not the Wrights. They knew the problem wasn't with their design, but with the existing scientific data they were relying on. The accepted tables for air pressure and lift, compiled by the leading scientists of the day, were wrong. So, what did they do? They decided to figure it out for themselves. Back in their Dayton bicycle shop, they built one of the most important tools in the history of aviation, a wind tunnel. It was a simple, ingenious device, a 6-foot-long wooden box with a fan at one end. Inside this tunnel, they tested over 200 different wing shapes, meticulously measuring the lift and drag of each one. They created their own, far more accurate, data. This was the tedious, unseen work that paved the way for their success. It wasn't glamorous, but it was the scientific foundation upon which their dream would be built. This disciplined, methodical approach is what truly separated them from the other dreamers. Armed with their new, accurate data, they returned to Kitty Hawk in 1902 with a new glider. The difference was night and day. This machine was a triumph. They made nearly 1,000 successful glides, some covering over 600 feet. They had mastered control. They could soar, turn, and land with precision. They had solved the problem of flight. Now, they just needed to add one more thing: power. The final piece of the puzzle was an engine. But in 1903, no one was selling a lightweight, powerful engine suitable for an airplane. So, true to form, the Wrights, with the help of their gifted shop mechanic, Charlie Taylor, designed and built their own. They crafted a simple, 4-cylinder, 12-horsepower gasoline engine. It wasn't much by today's standards, but it was exactly what they needed. They also designed their own propellers, realizing they weren't just simple fan blades, but a kind of rotating wing. Their calculations were so precise that their handmade propellers were remarkably efficient, another testament to their genius. Finally, the moment of truth arrived. The culmination of 4 years of relentless work was sitting on the sands of Kitty Hawk. They called it the Wright Flyer. It was a biplane made of spruce and ash, covered in muslin, with a wingspan of just over 40 feet. The pilot would lie on the lower wing, next to the roaring engine, operating the controls with their hips and hands. The morning of December 17, 1903, was cold and windy. The conditions were far from ideal, with gusts of over 20 miles per hour. They had already tried once a few days earlier, with Wilbur at the controls, resulting in a minor crash. After repairs, they were ready to try again. A coin toss decided the pilot. Orville won. At 10:35 a.m., with a handful of witnesses from the local life-saving station looking on, the Wright Flyer started down its 60-foot-long trail. Wilbur ran alongside, steadying the wing. For a few seconds, it rumbled along the track, and then, it lifted. The machine rose into the air. It bucked and swayed in the strong wind, but Orville, using the controls they had perfected, kept it steady. The flight lasted only 12 seconds. It covered a distance of just 120 feet, less than the wingspan of a modern Boeing 747. But in those 12 seconds, history was made. For the first time, a heavier-than-air, powered machine had taken off under its own power, flown in a controlled manner, and landed safely. Humanity had slipped the surly bonds of Earth. They weren't done for the day. They flew 3 more times, taking turns. The fourth and final flight was the most impressive. With Wilbur at the controls, the flyer stayed aloft for 59 seconds and traveled 852 feet. They had done it. They had proven, beyond any doubt, that controlled, powered flight was possible. After that final flight, a strong gust of wind caught the flyer and tumbled it across the sand, damaging it beyond immediate repair. But it didn't matter. Its job was done. The news of their success didn't exactly explode across the world. A telegram sent by Orville to their father read, "Success for flights Thursday morning. Inform press. Home Christmas." But the press was skeptical. The idea was so fantastic that many editors simply didn't believe it. It would take several more years of demonstrations and improved designs flying in public in both the United States and Europe for the world to finally grasp the magnitude of what these 2 humble brothers from Ohio had achieved on that cold December day. The Wright brothers' story is so much more than just the invention of the airplane. It's a powerful lesson in perseverance, curiosity, and the power of a systematic approach. They faced skepticism, technical setbacks, and dangerous conditions. But they never wavered. They trusted their method to observe, theorize, test, and refine. They didn't just dream of flying, they did the hard and glamorous work to understand the science behind it. Their success wasn't a stroke of luck, it was earned through thousands of hours of study, experimentation, and sheer determination. They teach us that with a clear vision and a relentless will to solve a problem, even the most audacious dreams can take flight. So the next time you look up and see an airplane streaking across the sky, take a moment to remember Orville and Wilbur Wright. Remember the bicycle shop, the homemade wind tunnel, and that windswept beach at Kitty Hawk. Remember that every great journey, including humanity's journey into the sky, begins with a single, determined step, or in this case, a 12-second flight. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, please hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next journey into history. See you in the next video.